Okay, so we interrupt this broadcast, this regularly scheduled tree trimming broadcast for what could possibly be an emergency situation. Well, what's up, guys? It's Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and welcome back to a beautiful day in southern Oklahoma. It's going to get hot. It's going to get humid. We've been getting a little bit of rain, and when it heats up, the humidity just goes through the sky. But we're going to be doing some work on the skid steer today, and luckily it's got a cab and an air conditioner. So the other day I showed you guys a couple implements that I got in from Ironcraft for the skid steer, and I actually told you there were 3. I went and picked up the 3rd implement today. I might show that to you in a little bit, but unfortunately the other day I really wasn't able to test out either one of the 2 implements. So we've got this big swing boom cutter. It swings off to the side, and it'll allow you to trim trees and trim grass and up and down and vertical and high and low. And we're going to test it out today because I got a bag of fittings in the mail this past weekend, and also got some fittings for the disc mulcher. Now I'm still waiting on the ballistic front glass for the skid steer. I really don't want to do too much with the disc mulcher until we get that ballistic front glass, but it has shipped and should be here, so hopefully we'll get that installed on the skid steer soon. So got to change out one valve or one fitting on this so that our case drain will hook up. Then we should be able to test this thing out and learn how to use it. Like I said, I've never used this thing. It's brand new. I mean, I'm going to learn with you guys. I'll just be honest. I'm going to hook it up, test it out, and learn how to use it. And hopefully by the end of the day, we'll be a little bit efficient with it. You guys sure are making a lot of ruckus back here. What's all the noise about? RJ, are you causing problems? We got RJ, we got Bear, we got a whole flock of geese back there. We've turned into a bird farm. Oh, goodness. My wife hates birds, but there's a duck over here, a duck there. 2 ducks playing in the water back there. Larry and his young lady friend here. So, anyways. Bear, you guys take all my attention. This video is not supposed to be about animals. This video is trying to get some work done today. So the only thing holding me up the other day from getting any work done with this swing boom cutter is their case drain plug was a female, and what is on my skid steer is also a female. So they sent me a male, and we're going to take this coupling off and put a female or put a male on there, and we should be able to hook this thing up and get to work. Good to go. Listen, geese. These geese like to get out and graze. I don't have the donkeys in this bottom pasture right now, so you eating yesterday's supper still? I think what I'll do, they keep cackling at me. The goats probably want out too, so I'm gonna open up these gates and connect them and let the geese love to graze on that green grass, so we'll let them out. Hey goats, come on goats. Come on goats. Let them get some green grass action for a few hours this morning. RJ, you're in the way, buddy. Come on, goats. RJ, move, buddy. Come on, goats. Come on. You geese need to move out of the way. Honking and blasting. The goats are scared to come through. Lambert, you lead the charge, okay? Y'all go graze. You and Bear, lead the charge. Well, the goats all came out to graze. Turkeys came out to graze. And 1 goose. 2 of them weren't smart enough to come on around the fence. But they'll figure it out. All right. Time to get to work. Better move, dog. Well, I would say it works fabulous. And I've just been testing it out with it straight out in front of the skid steer, just like a regular skid steer style brush cutter. I haven't ran it off to the side yet. I haven't, done any tree trimming or anything. And I'm just trying to learn how to manipulate and how to use this thing. But so far, I've been super impressed. Now, it is kind of the way it's designed without any kind of shield on the front or that side. You have to be careful or you will dig it down into the dirt, the soil and stuff. So this thing's not made for mowing your lawn. It's not made for cutting grass. It's a brush cutter for sure. And I got a bug keeps hitting me in the eye. But what you can do is as you approach a tree, you run the tree, in this spot right here, and the blades actually stick out farther than the front of the deck. So that allows you to, hit those trees before they actually fold over. So it's handled everything I've done so far. I think what I'm gonna do now is start moving it off to the side. The swing boom, that's why they call it a swing boom mower, right? A swing boom brush cutter. Move it off to the side. I may stand it up a little bit, try to do you can do fence rows, hedge rows, trail edges and things. Keep you from having to go through there with a chainsaw or limb loppers or a pole saw, because this thing will reach like 16 feet up in the air. So let's figure it out. Okay, so we interrupt this broadcast, this regularly scheduled tree trimming broadcast, for what could possibly be an emergency situation. So I had my drone up, flying my drone, and my property line is down here in front of where my skid steer is right now. And I had the drone up, and even before I put the drone up, I was like, what is that down there in the trees? So directly in front of me, in front of the skid steer, under this big power line right away, this is where the public hunting area is that backs up to us. And if you guys have watched the show for a while, we had two guys actually shoot at a deer that Houston and I were watching up here on the other side of this field last deer season. So it's a public hunting area down there. Well, I got to looking, and it's like, that's not rocks. I don't know what that is. I flew my drone down there, and that is a wrecked pickup truck that looks like it may have been there for a while. Somebody stretched a tarp over the top of it. And what's really concerning is there's 4 or 5 buzzards circling. Even on the drone, you can see the buzzards flying around. I don't know what the deal is. I called, a good friend of mine is the chief park ranger, and I told him what I found, and I'm not going to go down there. I'm not going to drive the skid steer down there, obviously, because it's a national park. But that pickup truck where it's at is probably 300 to 400 yards off the closest road. They drove down that power line right away and I guess wrecked in there. I don't really know. I don't know what to do other than to wait and see what they find out when they show up down here. Well, darn. Everything was going great until it wasn't. I just made a boo-boo. Totally my fault. Notice all the hydraulic fluid here. Bumped a tree, but it wasn't with this. I bumped the tree with the tracks, which is fine, not a problem. Except this was, my hydraulic lines are kind of a little bit long, a little bit of extra length on them, and they were hanging off to the side. So when I caught the tree, it pushed the hydraulic lines up against the tracks, which caused them to go under the track, and I broke, oh, that's hot, it's warm. I broke that hydraulic connector right there. Snapped it off. It's going to be interesting because part of it's still inside there, and that's not the only thing that broke. Actually, the electrical line got snapped in half, which that'll be an easy fix if I can find where the wires, I don't know how far the wires, oh, they broke in that, there's a connector right there, it looks like. Should be a pretty simple fix there, because they're all color coded, but yeah, dang, everything was going great until it wasn't. Just been kind of working my way down this fence line. Really wasn't even videoing at the moment, and lost quite a bit of hydraulic fluid. Made a mess on the ground. I don't like that, but not a whole lot I can do about it now. That's a bummer, but you can see why it did it. My hoses were sticking out there to the side, and it just caught that tree just good enough and popped them right off of there, broke it. So all I can do right now is limp it back to the house. I don't want to catch the rest of my lines. I'm going to go around that tree best I can. There's a stump right in front. Right in front of me. I'm gonna have to hug this side and miss that tree. Alright. Go limp it back to towards the house. May need to check on our vehicle situation down there by the creek. Looks like the park rangers have made it down to the public hunting area. Really curious to see what they find out. Should be an easy replacement. Got it. Here's where it broke right there. Snap that one in half. I actually can take this fitting off, and all we'll have to replace is this piece right here. So that's good. Oh, that should be a pretty easy fix. Oh, except the colors aren't color coded the same way they are at the plug. Red, 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 black, black. Okay, so all it did, like I said, was pull the wires out of those connectors. I can cut those off and put some new connectors on. I've just got to get some confirmation from the company as to which color code goes where, because they're not color coded the way they are on the plug side. It's just 5 wires here, There's 3 black ones all put together, so I would guess the black goes to that, but the other 4, we got to figure out which one goes where. So I'm gonna go to the parts store, see if I can get a fitting, and then get some connectors, some wire connectors, because I don't have any of those exact ones. So not a big deal. We'll get her up and going again soon. All right, that part is back in business. We should be good to go there. Now to work on the electrical. Well, it's not pretty, but it's all back together. Not near as pretty as it was, but I'm going to test it out and make sure it works first. Well, bummer. I just thought I had us all up and running again, but we busted a hose right there. I'll have to take the whole hose off and take it in and get it repaired, which they can just cut it and recrimp it, put a new end on it. That'll be an easy fix, but I'm not going back to the hardware store today. So, man, I guess, Jim, if it's not one thing, it's 7 others, right? You got hydraulic fluid all over you, girl. That's not good. Well, I just thought there were only 2 problems, the wiring and the one fitting, but with that other hose being busted, I'll go ahead and take it off today, but I'm not going to make another trip to the hardware store. Just is what it is. Actually, the hardware store where I get the fittings and stuff is like across the street from our gym, so I'll pick that up. What I'll do is I'll take that hose with me tomorrow to the gym and drop it off, and then they'll get it fixed real quick, and we'll come back and put it back on then. So I'm gonna unhook everything, but since we can't finish demoing the side boom, the swing boom mower, the swing boom cutter, whatever you want to call it, we'll do something else. I've got another piece of equipment back there that I want to show you guys, so we'll start on that one too. But listen, I absolutely love this thing so far. Being able to reach out in front of you and move left or right, up and down, swing it to the side, which I really wanted to go over and mow the pond dam, kind of try it on that today. And I've got some trails that are really overgrown and growing in, and I want to be able to flip that thing up and just drive down the trail. We'll get there, maybe tomorrow, but not today. Okay, so this is the 3rd piece of equipment, the final piece that I was waiting on from Ironcraft. And when I originally reached out to Ironcraft and wanted to partner and get some implements for the skid steer, this is what I had in mind. This is your standard conventional brush cutter that goes on the front of any skid steer. I used to rent one of these a few times a year and put it on the front of those Kubotas when I had a partnership with them, but that deal kind of went away a long time ago. But Ironcraft, the guys over at Ironcraft, when I was inquiring about one of these, this specific model I believe they call the Tree Reaper, and it has those V's cut out, the notches cut out, so that you can cut down fairly large trees. I'm thinking 4 or 5 inch trees pretty easy with this thing. It's not made for mowing grass, although it can do some light mowing, but when you put one of those on the front of the skid steer and you're bouncing, it's just not going to give you the prettiest cut on grass. But we're going to test this thing out. I haven't even fired it up yet. I'm going to have to add a little more hydraulic fluid to the skid steer before I do, because I've lost quite a bit today, and hopefully everything goes well with this. Like I said, this was the original thing I had in mind to take over to Mill Creek to knock down a bunch of those cedar trees. And when I was talking to Ironcraft, they're like, hey, we want to see if you'll test out this swing boom mower, which I so far really do like. And then they offered the disc mulcher. Now, I am not familiar with the disc mulcher at all. It's going to be a whole new learning process. It's a big, heavy, dangerous machine that I'm going to have to do some learning on before we get very good at that. But I can't wait to try it out. We'll learn how to use it and all that stuff. But let's put this thing to work and see what it'll do. Holy moly. Goodness sakes. I'm telling you what, holy moly. That's a bad machine right there. If the tree ripper brush cutter can do that, I don't even know what to say for the disc mulcher, because that right there, I mean, it's eating trees like mowing your lawn. And I'm not even kidding. Like, that's not a tiny tree. And I'm just testing it out on a few places, and you know, I've got all kinds of roads and trails and everything on this property. I do want to use this here for a while, but the main goal is to get it over to Mill Creek and mow down some cedar trees with it. The swing boom cutter is really cool. It has a good purpose. It's perfect for trimming up, you know, vertical edges and trimming trees and things. This thing, totally different level. Okay, I'm impressed. That machine right there, that implement on the front of that skid steer is one of the reasons I wanted a skid steer to begin with. That brush cutter right there, it's unreal at what it'll do. Now, I've only got about 45 minutes of time just messing around here, and they've got a lot more work that can be done. This is why I don't squat down with the camera, guys. Look, we got Bear, we got Earl, and we got Gemma. That's what happens every time I squat down with the camera. But I know this, not all of you have skid steers, and not everybody needs a skid steer or wants a skid steer. But if you do, and you're looking for implements, check out the Ironcraft website. Like I said, they wanted to partner with us on this stuff. There's 3 different implements we have here that I don't technically own. At least not yet. We're just demoing them for now. And the side boom cutter is magnificent. I know I had some issues with it today, but it wasn't issues of the machine. It was my own fault. And we'll get it back up and running again. I'm excited to try to use it on the pond dam, you know, different slopes and different trails, you know, trimming trees that are, you know, overhanging into the trails and stuff. It's going to be incredibly fast for that stuff. But this thing, I don't even know its full potential yet, but what I've done with it today and what you guys saw me just testing out, I'm excited to use it. I'm excited to see what it'll do to cedar trees. I think it'll cut a 3-4 inch tree and mulch it up and not even need the disc mulcher for that kind of stuff. This, as you can see, the way it's designed, you know, you've got these V's cut out here and you've got the pusher on top. So you just run into a tree, you know, you just take your tree into that V right there. Let me see, I may be able to spin a blade around here. Yeah, so there you go. You can see how as the blades rotate, I mean, that's a good 4 or 5 inches. You can cut a very large tree with that. And, you know, I don't want to go too big. I don't want to damage the equipment, but all the little shrub brush, if you've got pecan trees that haven't been maintained, everything grows up around pecan trees. I don't know. There's just so many different things you can do and maintain with this. All the animals are yelling at me. Dogs are wanting attention. I think that's going to wrap it up for the day. I've done all I can do. I've got to go get some diesel. I need to go get some hydraulic lines repaired. And Emily has summer basketball camp games today. Houston has baseball games tomorrow, and the next few days. We're about to wrap up his baseball season. Earl, do you just need that kind of attention? Or you just got your hands on Bella? Is that what it is? Got your paws on Bella? Anyways, guys, huge thank you to Ironcraft for partnering with us on this stuff. I'm going to be able to get so much work done here and especially over at Mill Creek. So guys, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day. And as always, we'll see you on the next video. I decided to quit just in time. The temperatures dropped. And I know you can't see much, but looks like it's going to storm coming from the south. Oh, and one thing I totally almost forgot to tell you guys. There was no bodies found in the abandoned vehicle on the creek. It was just a local yahoo problem causer who had drove way off down in there, got stuck, and threw a tarp over his vehicle trying to hide it from everyone. He was not there. They haven't found him yet, but funny part is my buddy that actually borrowed that brush cutter and where I had everything delivered to, like I said, he runs a wrecker service. He had to bring his skid steer down and go pick it up because you couldn't get a wrecker. You couldn't get a tow truck into where it was at. I was like, well, I got a skid steer right here. We could have just used it, but you know, for legal reasons, for insurance purposes, he had to use his own skid steer. But anyways, it was really weird seeing that truck on the national park over there on the public hunting area where it was. It was a long ways from the road. It shouldn't have been there. There's no vehicles allowed in there at all, and could have been a really bad situation. And there were buzzards flying around. You could see them on the drone video. So luckily no one was hurt, at least not that we know of yet. Somebody being dumb, probably drinking and being stupid and driving where they shouldn't have been. Now they got their truck impounded. So there's that.